When your calendar is empty and cash flow is unpredictable, the default response is to cast a wider net. Anyone with a budget starts to sound like the right target, but there's a hidden cost to that instinct. In reality, most of your revenue comes from a small fraction of companies. Trying to appeal to everyone burns time, distorts your messaging, and leaves you chasing deals that were never going to close. By the end of this video, you'll see why defining a profitable business to business target is not about narrowing your ambition, but about focusing your energy where it actually counts. Many freelancers and consultants struggle because they never take the time to identify who their best customers really are. Instead of looking at data, they rely on intuition or whatever industry sounds hot. Spray and pray marketing feels safe because it doesn't force you to choose, but it comes at a cost: diluted messaging, wasted budgets, and longer sales cycles. Research shows that segmenting customers leads to better acquisition, retention, and profits. According to Salesforce, companies often find that 80% of their returns come from just 20% of their customers. Similarly, business to business analytics platforms note that about 20% of prospect accounts generate 80% of wins and revenue, yet most small business to business service providers still treat every inbound lead with equal effort. The result isn't more revenue, it's burnout and inconsistent results. A few myths keep this inefficient behavior alive. The first is the belief that a larger total addressable market automatically yields more opportunities. In reality, a broad ideal customer profile often leads to spray and pray targeting. Another misconception is that everyone who contacts you should be pursued. But when Drift analyzed their deals, they found that focusing on a narrow segment, business to business, SaaS companies with 100 to 500 employees boosted their customer acquisition rate by 35% in 1 year. A third false belief is that ideal customers can be defined once and forgotten. Markets evolve, industries shift, and products change. Experts remind us that ideal customer profiles must be reviewed regularly. Companies that treat their ICP as a living document remain one step ahead of the competition. Holding on to outdated assumptions may feel comfortable, but it prevents you from seeing the real patterns in your business data. So, what if, instead of chasing everyone, you build a repeatable process for finding and focusing on the customers who actually move the needle? Defining a profitable business to business target is not about exclusion for its own sake. It's about using a system to concentrate your resources on the 20% of companies that generate 80% of your revenue. Let's walk through that system step by step. The first and most overlooked step is to analyze your existing customer base. Don't guess who you want, study who's already paying you the most and staying the longest. Most business to business segmentation guides agree that effective segmentation begins by analyzing existing customer data. This data reveals patterns in industry, company size, geography, and technology that you can't see from the outside. For instance, the M1 project notes that an ideal customer profile, ICP, is formed by examining the characteristics, behavior, and needs of your current customers. Properly defining your ICP allows you to focus on promising segments and increases the effectiveness of your marketing and sales. Segmentation goes beyond demographics. You also consider firmographic and technographic criteria: industry, revenue, employee count, and technology stack. A simple Pareto analysis helps you identify the top 20% of customers that drive most of your revenue. In one example, the SaaS company Outreach moved from targeting all sales teams to focusing on mid-sized technology companies with a strong need for automation. This focus increased their lead conversion by 30% and revenue by 25%. Once you've identified these common attributes, document them in a focused profile. The abstract guide notes that grouping customers by industry, company size, and geography highlights which segments are most profitable. This clarity allows you to tailor your marketing toward lookalike prospects. Your own data, who renews, who buys the most, and who refers, contains the blueprint for profitable targeting. After you know who your best customers are on paper, the second step is to understand why they buy. In business to business, purchases are rarely made by a single person. Buying committees often include users, influencers, champions, detractors, budget owners, and final decision makers. Misunderstanding the committee leads to missed opportunities. The LinkedIn guide emphasizes identifying each role in the buying committee and tailoring your pitch to their concerns. Datadog, for example, improved their deal closure rate by 22% simply by mapping the roles of DevOps managers, CTOs, and IT directors in the buying process and addressing the specific concerns of each. Beyond roles, you must uncover shared pain points. Abstract recommends identifying common challenges among potential customers and tailoring your offer to solve them. Pain points are often about broader business goals, reducing churn, improving compliance, increasing productivity. When you speak to these issues, your outreach feels relevant instead of generic. Win loss analysis further refines your understanding of why deals succeed or fail. By reviewing past deals, Toast learned that restaurants undergoing digital transformation and CFOs early in their tenure were more likely to close. Concentrating on these high probability leads cut their sales cycle by 35% and increased win rates by 28%. Without this analysis, they would have continued investing in low probability accounts. The mental shift here is that profitable targeting requires empathy and evidence. You must understand what your ideal customers care about and who influences the purchase. When you align your message with real pain points and the dynamics of the buying committee, deals move forward faster. Defining a profitable target is not a one time exercise. Markets evolve, new technologies emerge, and your own offering changes. The M1 project emphasizes that the ICP is only a reflection of a market segment at a point in time and must be reviewed regularly because segments can change or stop working. Companies that revisit and adjust their ICP stay ahead of the competition. A static profile quickly becomes outdated and leads to stale messaging. Continuous refinement relies on both data and collaboration. Predictive fit models show that the top 25% of leads often generate most of the revenue, and that focusing on them can deliver conversion lifts of 3 to 6 times. Using such tools helps you prioritize accounts that mirror your best customers. The goal is to build a habit of measuring performance, running experiments, and iterating your target definition. Equally important is internal alignment. Abstract stresses that sales and marketing must share the same market definition. When both teams agree on who the ideal customer is, they deliver consistent messaging and higher quality leads. Finally, stay attuned to market shifts by talking to peers and customers. Emerging trends or new pain points may signal it's time to revisit your target. Schedule periodic reviews of your ICP and treat it as a living document to ensure your targeting remains profitable as your business scales. When you pull these pieces together, defining a profitable business to business target becomes a system rather than a one off task. You begin by analyzing your best customers to discover the firmographic and technographic patterns that drive revenue. And you dive into pain points, buying committee roles, and win loss analysis to understand why certain companies buy and others don't. You implement continuous measurement and refinement using predictive scoring models and regular ICP reviews. You align your sales and marketing team so that every campaign speaks to the same ideal customer. Over time, this system builds a flywheel. The more you know your target, the more relevant your messaging, the higher your conversion rates, and the more data you collect to refine your target further. It's not about chasing trends, it's about building a rigorous, repeatable process. As a freelancer or consultant, your growth doesn't depend on serving everyone. It depends on focusing on the people who value your expertise most. By studying your data, identifying real pain points, understanding the buying committee, and refining your ICP, you create a scalable business. Outreach increased conversions by 30% and revenue by 25% by focusing on a specific segment. Drift boosted acquisitions by 35% with a narrow ICP, and Toast improved win rates by 28% through better qualification. If you found this useful, don't forget to subscribe. You've defined your profitable business to business target. Now it's time to turn that clarity into action. In the next video, we'll unpack a simple lead framework designed for paid ads freelancers.